Has life changed since 2020? Stay tuned. Well, welcome to episode 208 of Note School TV, and we want to welcome you today. And let's do a quick, let's do some quick housekeeping. Number one, make sure and like this episode. Number two, make sure and share it with your friends. Number three, subscribe to the Note School TV channel if you have not already done so. And well, last but not least, hit that bell notification so that you will be notified every Wednesday right before we go live. When? At 11:05 Central Time. So with that, let's go ahead and bring on our Chief Visionary Officer, Note School's founder, my friend, Mr. Eddie Speed.
Good morning.
How are you, sir?
Are we celebrating today?
We are celebrating our 208th episode. So that means this is episode 208.
Well, happy birthday, Note School TV, I guess, huh?
Yeah. We've got a couple of slides here. And, well, what do you think?
No, I think a lot of things have moved. I know you've got a couple of slides to just kind of go back down memory lane a little bit. The one thing I would say to you guys is this. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm glad that's on video and they're not actually pouring all that over me, right?
Yeah, that's not us, right? So.
Not that wouldn't be fun, but I got stuff to do. Well, Joe, we looked a little younger. You know what I'm saying?
We did. Our backdrops were a little, we did what we could. And I guess we had, back then we had what we were saying coming out on the bottom. So I couldn't get that out, but yeah, we did look a little younger.
Yeah. The one thing I would say that I think we can stand on as far as Note School TV for 4 years, and that is our market updates, our pay attention to these things happen in the market. If you look back over time, I think we gave some pretty good clarity to the direction of the business and caution flags. I know that, we were one of the first guys to start talking about inflation and talking about how that would affect interest rates. Yep. And so, Joe, I feel like that there's a lot of things that we were trying to do all along this journey that really were things that really affected the business and opportunities. So that's pretty fun. October 7th of 2020. Yeah. And then
our first guest was Justin. Look at that.
Justin Bogard, first guest. And that's pretty cool. And
well, let's talk about a then and a now, Eddie. So I just kind of put this together. So back in 2020, look at the 30-year rates compared to today.
Yeah. So then rates were 2.9%. Now they're 6.59.
Yep.
They're more than twice as high as they were. And there's a lot of things that have changed in the market and in real estate and the mortgage business since then.
Yeah.
And so a lot of difference. So, Joe, the only thing constant is change. That's what they say.
That's it. That's it. Yeah.
And
prices have gone up a little, inventory is, 2020 inventory had declined. And then in 2020, it's increased.
What I would say, Joe, is that when I look back after 4 years, it made me realize a value proposition that Note School brings to the table that maybe I sometimes forget, because this is a journey.
It is.
And sometimes we need a little bit of a tour guide to help us through the journey.
We do. And you know what? It's the note business is the business, the things today that are out there are better for us now than they were back then. It's a note cycle. We've been saying that for a while, and that's what it is. So, yep. Congratulations, Eddie. We've done it. We've made it 4 years, and, here's to 4 more, right?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do a let's talk about Note Expo and do a quick commercial for that, Eddie.
Well, Note Expo is coming up 8th and 9th of November, and this is a really, really, really big deal, Joe. This is our premier event of the year that we invite the entire industry to come to Note Expo, and there's a nice hotel, there's food, there's fun, there's connections, there's vision. And that's the calm before the storm. That's what we looked like last year. And believe me, 20 minutes later, it is a mob. And
it is a nightmare.
This is the largest small investor private note trade show in the United States. In fact, we lap any other trade show as far as that. Our MC, Mr. Ron Eccles, who is going to be back with us again this year. This guy is lightning in a bottle, let me tell you. And we're really fired up about it. We've got inspiration. We've got vision. Yeah. How about that?
So you were going one way and Ron's going the other. So that was Ron introducing you, Eddie.
Yeah, that's awesome. And so really, I think it's a matter of, trying to really figure out what's in the marketplace. There's nothing that we find better than having an industry full of people to go share with. Yeah. And that's exactly what this will be. This will be about 500 folks. And they're here talking about our industry. This isn't a real estate investor trade show. This is a note trade show. Now, if you're a real estate investor and you create seller financing or you're interested in notes, this is where to go. And so it is a great level of connectivity. And there is a lot of vendors and a lot of vision. And I'm telling you, the vision, there's Justin Bogard right there.
There he is right there.
And the vision from the stage, I believe, is going to be lightning bolt. And we're going to have stories and case studies from students that have won awards and just some fun too, right?
Yep.
And but we're going to really be able to talk about like the vendors for the servicing or title work or closing services or boots on the ground services. And all of that is a factor. And this is definitely a place to connect. If you haven't considered Note Expo, consider coming to Note Expo. I will assure you that this is going to be a very exciting event. It's going to be an event that is informative. We have a high focus on the vision of the business for 2025.
For sure.
Absolutely.
And Eddie, we'll even throw in ice cream socials there during
the ice cream social. And by the way, we have great food there. We have great receptions. So we have lots of things.
A lot of networking opportunities.
Are networking, social opportunities, as well as business and vision and clarity and inspiration. There's some inspiration along the way in this that I think is going to knock your eyes out. Dr. Don Davis is our keynote speaker, and he is our inspirational speaker. And Joe, he has a 25-year plus career in the NFL, both as a player and now in charge of player
affairs for the
player affairs. Yeah. And by the way,
Super Bowl rings as well.
Not only was he a rock star in the NFL, but he is a rock star in inspiration, and we are very fired up to have him. And he's going to get us started off as the keynote, and we're going to have all the way through it people that are casting a vision with high expertise in the market about what they're seeing and best practices. Note Expo, buddy.
Note Expo 2024.
Let's do it. All right.
Let's do it.
Eddie, Joe, I'm gonna bring on our guest today, and we're gonna have a little interview. And he was our very first guest on NoteSchool TV when we started our very first episode. So we are fired up to have him. So
see you guys at the end of the show. Have fun.
All right, my friend.
Yep.
Our guest today is somebody that I truly, really respect in the business. I got the pleasure of being a part of his learning journey in this business. And but he is a guy that I really love to respect. And I want to say this. He picked this industry a lot first based on his family situation. He is a single dad, helping raise two daughters, but they live with him about half the time. And their schedule and what their needs were a big part of why he picked pursuing the note business. And he has done that. And I've watched this journey along the way with this guy and what he's learned and what he's done and how he's adjusted and how he's helped raise those two girls. And I'm impressed with him. You guys welcome Mr. Justin Bogard.
Hey, hey, happy birthday.
Thank you. You got to be there for the initial party, didn't you?
I know. It was great. The party's still going for 4 years.
Yeah. Justin, you have quite a story with us in the business and quite a story you've done. You joined Note School in June of 2016.
Yeah, it's hard to believe I've been doing this business that long, 8 years.
Yeah. You had tried other things before Notes.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So after college, I went into kind of, I think it was a temp program where they just put you in different places that you might thrive in. So my expertise was really electrical engineering is what I went for school for, and then computer science and some higher end math classes. So database analytics is kind of what I dove into first.
Mm-hmm.
So I worked at a couple of print companies, and what I would do is I would manage their mailrooms. So I would take in, customer lists, and we would massage them and run them through postal software and make these addresses clean so we can inkjet them and send them out in the mail. So it's very similar to how, we do direct mail and stuff like that. So that was kind of my wheelhouse for the first probably, I don't know, 10, 14 years or so.
Uh-huh.
And then I just had that itch. I had that itch to be a real estate investor. My first house was 2004, and I bought it as a HUD home. Mm-hmm. And so I bought it for, I don't know, I want to say it was like $95,000. And it was a small footprint house on the west side of Indianapolis. And all I did was I put new carpet in there. I painted the walls, did any, minor repairs that need to be done, and put some appliances in there. And then I think it was about 4 years later that the 2008, 2009 era happened. And I listed the house for sale with a realtor friend of mine, and he told me how to stage it. And he's like, just do what I say. I said, okay, I'll do exactly what you say. I staged it. We listed it in 24 hours. I even had an offer, and I had an offer higher than what I was asking for it because of the way that, we kept the house in good condition and set it up. So it's kind of cool. And from right then and there, I was just like, oh man, I'm hooked. I loved it, and did that to the second house. And then finally just got sick and tired of working for, my industry that I was in. I got burned out pretty easily.
Mm-hmm.
And then I took some real estate seminar classes, and I learned how to invest in properties and all the things that come with being a landlord and a wholesaler and a fix and flipper, and decided that wasn't for me. And luckily, Joe Varnadore came to my Indianapolis RIA and was teaching about buying in mortgage notes. And that's kind of the quick story of kind of how I got into Note School.
Well, I remember one of the decisions you made is that you had your young daughters, very young daughters at the time, and they lived with you at least half the time, right?
Yeah.
And so there was some lifestyle decisions you need to make because you didn't need to be working. You needed to be at home late in the evening, not off somewhere.
Right.
Right. And, I work with you a lot now. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I know that, it is frequently a little later in the afternoon. You're like, hey, I need to jump off because I got to pick the girls up, or they're in from school and whatever and stuff. And you've made that a life priority. And I really appreciate the fact that you're picking a business that let you pick your lifestyle was a big deal.
Yeah. And I really didn't know that was possible until I got into real estate, and specifically note investing. Because I didn't want to be on a job site, all the time traveling around. Like I would even have a printer in the back of my SUV with, ink cartridges ready to write, checks for people when they get done with their work as soon as I approve of it. And it's just it's a totally different lifestyle now being, in the note business as opposed to being what I call the traditional real estate business.
All right. Well, let's kind of talk about the journey. So you joined Note School in 2016, and it's been a journey, right?
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the strategy when you first started. What were you, where were you going, and what were you thinking at the beginning?
Well, contrary to what I was doing with standard real estate investing, I live in Indianapolis, Indiana at the time. That was kind of my territory, is what I focused on. So I currently live in Fishers, which is just right outside the loop of Indianapolis, just for reference. There's just a lot of competition in Indianapolis in 2016, 2015, 2016 for people buying wholesaling houses and, having rentals and things like that, and running into issues with contractors. That's really what drove me to have much more excitement going into the note business, because there's far less competition. So within that realm, when I first got into notes, I kind of wanted to know and experience this myself. So I really kind of bought my own performing and non-performing loan first to see how that went. And then I really saw how this made a lot of sense to me. And I knew other people would want to be more passive instead of being a fully active investor. And so the flipping the note strategy, where I would buy the note with someone else's money and then sell it to them at a higher price, that became my main focus. And then trying to spread the awareness of you can be passive in this business and still kind of be a little bit active, but make the money you want, but have far less activity in the business, so to speak. And that's kind of what I wanted to do first, was sell notes.
My father-in-law started me in the business in 1980, as you know, right?
Yeah.
And he told me, and he was an ex-fireman, and he built a lot of rent properties and trailer parks and stuff. And he says, Eddie, you can make a lot more money with this than you can with a hammer. That was the truth, wasn't it, Justin?
Absolutely. You never know until you
get into it. Making more money with a pencil than a hammer was an absolute truth. And when you kind of told that story, that's a little bit of what you were doing, is you were out there fixing up properties, and whether you were physically doing it all yourself or you were managing it and making sure they did it and stuff, now all of a sudden you're making money doing deals versus making money trying to go essentially be a general contractor.
Right.
All right. So you said, okay, well, I'm going to make money with some private investors. And so then you started a meetup, right? Kind of a virtual meetup, I guess, because it was, the thing to do, right?
Yeah. So I did start doing live meetups. I think I only did that for maybe a year and a half, 2 years, because that's right when the COVID stuff started happening. So before COVID came into the United States, I had already started doing a hybrid of, having a recording of a live webinar at the same time doing live instruction to people as well.
Yeah.
And that worked out pretty well, because I was starting to have a following of people outside of my state that couldn't get to me. So that worked out well. And then once COVID happened, it just hybrided into, being totally virtual. But the reason
you
for
really
that,
did that to raise money, right?
well, I didn't know I could raise money that way. I think I first started doing that. If I were to look back then, it was really just to find people that had money to buy the notes. And then as a byproduct of that, I was able to, people were looking at me and be like, hey, that's all great and good, but I don't really have time for that stuff. Here, is there any way that I can do this without being as active as, you need to be in the beginning process? I'm like, yeah, let me just, borrow the money and we'll do a deal. And that's kind of how that started. So,
and you, even with Note School, you were on stage and you were an award-winning student because of some of those things that you did in that regard.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. I ran into some very trustworthy people of me after, I've proven my track record and how I would, do what I say I was going to do. And lo and behold, I was having people give me money to where I could go out and almost leverage it as if I was like a hedge fund, really at a very small level. And that was pretty cool.
All right. So you had good success. The virus came along. You adjusted well to virtual because, well, you're a technology guy, right?
Yeah, I am. And, don't tell anybody that, because I don't want to get stuck doing IT
I'm not
stuff
a technology
anymore.
guy, but I have people around me that help me look better than I really am, right?
Yeah.
So has anything changed since the virus? Anything changed since we first had you on Note School TV in October of 2020?
The simple answer is yes.
A lot, right?
A lot has changed.
Yeah.
The environment we're in, economic situation that goes around and ebbs and flows. It's ever moving. The one thing that you teach us in Note School is not to be a one-trick pony. That's like the Captain Obvious, as you would say.
Mm-hmm.
And being a one-trick pony, I mean, like only doing one thing. Like, okay, I'm only going to flip notes. I'm not going to do anything else. Like understanding every strategy, how to get into a deal and how to get out of a deal,
right,
is what makes you nimble. And once we got up to COVID, things really started to change. And then to move forward, you have to just reposition how you like you and running your businesses. You have to reposition yourself all the time just based on what's going on in today's world.
Well, and Justin, you've gotten to go see it. So those of you that don't know this, Justin is the head trader on the trade desk at Colonial Funding Group. Now that's not Note School. It's Note School's sister company. It's the note buying company, right? And what we figured out was, Justin, that more people that had a good income or investable capital, as you said, they wanted us to go do things for them.
Yeah.
Right. And so that meant we had to go find more notes and have done for you type services. Right. Because they didn't want to go chase notes. They didn't want to go process them and close them. They said, what if we just rented your back office and you did it? And Eddie, then we can buy a note that you've already got a package and a ribbon around it. Right. And so I reached out to you and I said, Justin, I want you to think big here. Right. Our ability to find notes, but at Colonial is a much bigger ball, a wider swath, however you want to say it, than what you're trying to do now.
Yeah.
And I said, if we have an abundant mentality, we can find enough notes for all of us. And so that has been a journey that we've been on this year. And I would say that you've passed the test, Justin. You've done really well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Had a lot of help along the way.
Well, I mean, I bought 50,000 notes, so I had a little vision to share.
You did. You had some experience to lend.
And so I think we've worked on your instincts, of where to find a deal or when to get off a deal. Like that's not going to be good paper. Like get off of that quick. Let's go chase a good deal. Right. Mm-hmm. Those are things that experience and just reps, times of working on deals. And so you've been a quick study, a really quick study. And so that's now what you're doing. And now we have a group of students that don't really start where you started.
Yeah.
Right. They're not doing this as a business. They're just doing it as an investing strategy. How do we help them do that, Justin?
Well, we do what we just said we do. We find inventory. We find good collateral in good areas with good borrowers. And the paper is the easiest thing to fix because we can always modify it before we close on it. So that's what we're focused on. We're looking for good operators. We have found that, focusing on people that make many notes as opposed to one note becomes more beneficial because we can have the abundance mentality and we'll just say buy in bulk, if you will. And then we're able to trade things and do it in more scale than we can as just doing a couple here and there.
So a big change for all of us, right? A big change for how you pursued the business, big change for, how Note School offered things to its students that didn't offer when you started, right? Mm-hmm. Colonial continues to be a note buyer, right? And continues to chase inventory and chase notes. But our production is up. And I think it's because seller financing is filling a big gap for the industry right now. So we'll take on the additional business, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's a fun business to be in. And there's plenty of notes out there, regardless of anything that you've heard before. There are plenty of notes.
They are. And we had to go fish in the right ponds and get dialed in on what that looked like. But you and I've had a lot of fun this year working on that.
Yeah.
I want to talk about two things before we end. First of all, I want to talk about your why. And second of all, I want to talk about why you come to Note Expo. First of all, your why.
Why do I do this business?
Yeah. You're beyond money, your why.
Yeah. The simple answer really is the flexibility of your time. I can give more time in different parts of the day so it can free me up to do different things. And if I selfishly want to go play a round of golf because it's nice weather out, I can do that because I can position myself to work more in the morning or work in the afternoon, or, you know, as you told the audience before, having my timeshare with my daughters, you know, getting them 50% of the time, I know that I have certain weeks or days to where I'm going to be freed up more to do things personally or with them or plan things. So it's really the flexibility of the schedule when it comes down to it is the best why to be able to do things. And then the byproduct of that is just meeting really, really cool people and just learning and sharpening my pencil along the way with business skills and, you know, pricing skills as well.
You know, Justin, having a job that you're not stressed out all the time makes you a better dad.
That's true.
And that's a good why, right?
Yeah. I'm still waiting for my #1 dad coffee mug. I still haven't gotten one yet.
Well,
I don't know if I'll be getting that.
Daughters, they're a little older when I first met them, right? We have to talk to them and straighten them out a little bit, right?
I don't know. They're pretty sassy teenagers. So
oh, they are.
You might walk out of the room holding your head down and go, oh, wow.
All right. So we have Note Expo upon us, right?
Yep.
Why do you come? You've not ever missed a year. Why?
It's hard with one simple answer to say why. It's many different things. And I'm not just saying this because I'm a part of Note Expo when we have it as well. When I first started coming to Note Expo, it was my first interactions with other people that are doing this business. Once you get into the Note School family and you're in the program, you may not know many people that are in your immediate, you know, physical vicinity where you live geographic wise. But when you get to Note Expo, you are meeting hundreds and hundreds of people that are doing the same thing. And it's just really cool to hear their journey and their experiences and the deals that they're buying. And then you associate that with what you're doing. So the networking is like very, very, very huge. And it's just invaluable. Meeting a lot of the vendors that I talk through email or on the phone, it's nice to see them in person, to have, you know, that conversation and maybe ask more questions than you really could during interactions when you're in the note business with vendors. And then the topics of discussion are really huge. One thing I take away from every Note Expo, regardless of how seasoned I've become from year 1 to year 8, is the market trends that you see and the people that you respect in different levels and different, you know, parts of this real estate world that they see, and it all comes together. And we get to hear like what's been happening behind the scenes and where they forecast, you know, things in the future. And then what's most important right now is to really pay attention to legislation. A lot of legislation tries to get snuck through in certain states or certain markets or certain parts of real estate that we all need to pay attention to and know about. And it's just great to have everyone in one place to really learn about it at the same time, so we can take action together if we need to stop something.
No doubt about it.
Yep.
It gives us an awareness of where the opportunity is.
Mm-hmm.
We may have a whole waterfall of saying this is why the market's done what it's done, but there's opportunities in every market, right? We agree with that. If we knew what to do every time in every market, we can go find the good side of the market, or the how you make money side, even though other people are not doing as well. Rental properties aren't doing as well right now.
Yeah.
Syndications aren't doing as well right now. Well, we figured out that becomes our heyday, right? So that's a great example of it. Justin, you are awesome, dude. I appreciate that now every day that you and I get to talk, and I love trading notes, and you know it.
Yeah.
And it's just a joy to go deal with somebody that cares, that is paying attention to the details, that allows me to be, I get to give you some experience, but you make it efficient for me to do that. And thank you for that.
Well, you're very welcome. It's fun working with you and learning from you. And I thought I knew a lot about pricing until I got to the trade desk. And then it just was probably 10x more that I learned in the short amount of time I've been on the trade desk since then. And it's just amazing what you don't know, because you haven't been experienced to out there until you actually, you know, are in the trenches, so to speak, and working deals. So it's fun doing it. It's good to collaborate with you and others about trades as well. So.
We occasionally we get to be creative, right?
That's the fun part, is really thinking about what do we have in front of us? How do we make this work? And, you know, for all parties involved. So.
All right, Mr. Joe, I'm going to let you close this out, my friend.
All right. So 2 things, Justin. Number 1, you were always coachable from that fateful day we met in June of 2016. So you've always been coachable. You've always moved forward. And number 2, Eddie, we forgot to mention this. Justin is going to be on the big stage at Note Expo doing a note talk, right?
He is. He is going to talk about mechanizing the business using, basically a pricing matrix and creating notes to a formula, and which he and I have had a lot of time experiencing and practicing. And that's something I brought back from the old days of designing the note system in Homevestors and many, many versions since. And I started that in around 1990. But Justin has been the lead guy to help run that mechanization so that people can feel more comfortable in how they create notes.
Yep.
We've got them creating notes to a formula, so we know that we can buy them quicker and even pay more money for them. And so that's really cool. And he's championed that project really well.
For sure. So Justin, thanks so much for being our guest this week. Thank you, all of our watchers and continuing to support us and watch us, guys. We'll see you next week for episode 209. And by the way, go to Note School 2024, get signed up for Note Expo, and we will see you there. Thanks, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.